What's up, guys? We're gonna do a skipping video today. I'm gonna cut out a lot of the stuff that's gonna make you not be able to skip very well. One very important part is your jig, and when you're skipping, it's about 90% gear when you do this. If you have the right gear and you set this thing up right, your learning curve on skipping is gonna cut it way down. So what I like to use is basically like an Arky style jig head. It's got a real flat head on it. So think of it as like skipping a stone. You're not gonna get a stone that's round, like a ball. You want one that's real flat where it hits the water and it skips good. Also, I like a real compact jig when I'm skipping. So what I'll do is I'll cut this down right past the hook, and that's about all you want. The less stuff you have hanging off the jig and the more compact it is, the better. This right here is an Excite Raptor Tail Junior. Let me tell you, it catches them. What I like to do when I put this on here, I want about that much hanging off. You don't want a lot hanging off behind that hook, because you're not gonna skip as good. So what I'll do is I'll cut that there. And for you tournament fishermen, you guys are gonna like this. So this is super glue from BSI. Some really good stuff. And what I'll do, put your super glue on. What I'll do is put the glue on the jig, and it comes with an accelerator. So give it a little shot on the back side of that. So the second this super glue hits this accelerator, it's gonna set up. So there's no more waiting. Typically you do this and you gotta wait about 20 seconds for this stuff to set up. But slide your bait on there and it's already done. I mean, it's ready to fish right now. One very important part that a lot of people overlook when they're skipping is how this is set up on this hook. If this is pointing down, it's going to catch water and you're not going to skip as good. You kind of want it pointing up more than pointing down, because when this jig comes off the line, it's coming like this and it's flying at the water like this. And if this is pointing down, it's going to catch water and want to dive in. So what you want to do is push that up a little bit and get it as straight as possible. But that right there is my jig set up when I'm skipping. Another thing that's very important is the rod. This is my Cross B custom rod. It's the AP series. It's a 7-foot rod and it's a medium heavy. You don't want you don't want a broomstick, basically. And when you find a rod for skipping, you want the bend in this rod to be about in the last quarter of that rod. So that's what you're looking for right there. It's going to give you accuracy, and when you're roll casting, it's really going to let you whip that jig up there where you want it under those docks and stuff. But let's get into some of the mechanics and stuff on skipping, and a few things that I can help you with on and not only improving your cast accuracy just fishing normally, but especially when you're skipping jigs. Something I see a lot of people doing, whether they're casting or especially skipping, is when they're skipping, they have their arms all out here, and it just makes for a wild cast. Your accuracy decreases quite a bit. So when you're working on skipping, keep your arms, keep everything in tight like this, because it's 90% in your wrist anyway on how you're roll casting this. Bring it back and throw it on through. Something that'll help you is get a $1 bill or get a business card and put it under your armpit and sit there and hold it like that and fish for an hour and see how much better your cast gets throughout the day. Keeping your mechanics in real tight and working on it like this. But here's the mechanics of the roll cast for the skip. So what you want to do when this lure comes out and it's bouncing across the water, when you initially start this, your spool speed is at a constant, and this lure is hitting the water and it's slowing down. So you're having more line come out. Your spool's still spinning the same speed. So what you want to do is when you cast this out there, you want to compensate for that spool speed by pulling your rod tip up to the 12 o'clock position, and that'll really help you continue that lure out there without backlashing.
So we've gone over rods. Let's go over the reel setup now. Um, when you pick a reel for skipping, pick a reel that has less line capacity, more like a 70 series rather than a 200 series, because what that's going to do when you cast that reel out, it's gonna have more inertia. The more line and the bigger that the spool is, the more inertia, the longer it takes to speed up and slow down. So number one, those smaller spools like a 70 series Curado or something, you're gonna have less line on it. So when you do backlash, you're not going to waste as much line anyway. And also another big helpful tip when you um, it, if there's days like where there's a lot of chop out, it's a little more windy than I want it to be, or certain other situations, I'll make a cast length out with my rod, and then I cast out a little bit further than I normally would when I skip, and I'll cut a piece of electric tape and I put that on the spool, and then I reel in on top of the tape. That way, when you do skip out there and you hit a bad angle or something, or you hit a dock, you hit the dinner bell, it when it backlashes, the backlash will only go to the electric tape, and it'll stop right there. So that'll help you a lot, when you're doing that. At the end of the day, it just takes practice. Even the pros get out there and they got to get back in the swing of things. When I first get out on the water, I spend the first 5 minutes picking out backlashes, but you usually get in the zone, and man, it's all downhill from there. If you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. But thank you guys for watching. See you next time.